9:06, and I call to order the special magistrate proceeding for the city of Daytona Beach for its rental program on this 24th day of June, 2025. My name is Robert Riggio. I am the special magistrate who will be hearing the matters this morning, and I will be going down the list unless there are any cases that need to be heard out of order. Are there any?
Yes, the lien review is going to be pushed to the end
Okay, well, that's good.
under miscellaneous business.
All right, that moves everything else forward. So let me just briefly state how these hearings are conducted. You've probably seen the agenda with the listing of the cases, and your cases will be called in that order. When you are called, if you could come forward and stand over at that lectern over there, at which time if you can state your name, and then you'll be sworn in by the clerk of this proceeding, because all testimony here is under oath. The city will be at this lectern, an inspector. And at that point, after you've been sworn in, the inspector will provide a summary of the case that the city is bringing against you. And following that, you will be given an opportunity to respond and state whatever you have to say in your defense. And then once all the arguments are finished, then I make a determination. This is a proceeding that may result in the levying of a fine. If a fine is levied, it becomes a fine against your property and will be a recorded document, just like any other recorded type of lien against the property would be, unless you can speed up the process if you pay that off before assuming that you've been found to have been in violation of something. If you can pay it off before the city goes forward and actually files the lien. So, are there any announcements?
That was the announcement.
Okay.
That was the lien change.
All right. I have reviewed the May 27th, 2025 meeting minutes, and I find them to be fine. And if you could remind me at the end of the meeting for me to sign them and provide them to you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will now begin the hearing of the cases, and I've described the procedure that we follow. And this would be a good time for any city staff who may be presenting testimony to be sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. All right. The first item of business was to be a lien review, but that has been moved to the end of the agenda. So we're going to begin with the new cases. These cases are termed irreparable and irreversible. Case number 1. RTL 06-2532, Mike Williams and Jennifer Ellis, cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 at 124 Loomis Avenue. Is there anyone here? Is Mike Williams or Jennifer Ellis here? I know we hear cases sometimes with Zoom. She's here for the lien review. For which one case? Lien review. Oh, lien review. Okay. Well, that's been moved to the end, but we have only, is it 6 cases today?
Yes.
So this will probably be fairly short order. You'll have your time to provide your arguments for the lien review. Are Mike Williams or Jennifer Ellis or anyone here on Zoom?
No, Your Honor. Only number 6.
Okay. Well, there is no respondent present. Have they been properly notified?
Yes.
Okay. So they've been notified of this hearing, and they're not here. So Mr. Yates, if you could go forward, they have their opportunity. Have they contacted you and asked for a continuance or anything?
They have not. We posted the property.
Okay.
Yeah, no contact, unfortunately.
Okay. Mr. Yates?
The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned RDD6. Other accommodations known as short-term rentals are not permitted in the zoning district. The violation was first observed May 28, 2025, and they were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of May 30th, 2025. The daily posted rate was $116, and the advertisement displayed 1 review. The check-in, check-out time were shown as 11 a.m. and 10 a.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, requesting a one-time fine of $1,000.
Okay. Mr. Jackson?
Morning, Mr. Riggio, Anthony Jackson, attorney for the City of Daytona Beach. I'm here to ask the magistrate to make a consideration for these cases to be deemed irreparable and irreversible in nature as provided in Chapter 162.09, subsection 2D of the Florida statute. And when I do that, it's a request of one, what the circumstances are and the effects that these types of cases, as the nature of these cases have.
Okay.
And I'd ask everyone in the audience to listen up. I will present this at every case, or you'll have the opportunity, if you so elect, to waive me presenting it additional times throughout the proceedings. The irreparable and irreversible nature is a matter that's a subject of these types of cases. And the statute says if they're irreversible and irreparable in nature, that there are certain provisions and penalties that shall apply. What makes these irreversible and irreparable in nature is that there's a beneficial gain to the property owner who advertises conduct that is prohibited by the city's code. And as you note, I said advertise because that's also one of the criteria considerations that's presented through our adoption of the statute, or what's been utilized in the ordinance. So the effects of renting property or holding our property as vacation rental cannot be reversed or repaired. Property is advertised worldwide, marketing a destination that draws people from all over the world for principal special events such as Daytona 500 races, Bike Week, Biketoberfest, and throughout the spring and summer months at the world's most famous beach. The properties may also be marketed as a draw to nearby destinations such as Disney World and Space Coast. Once the properties are advertised, they're never truly unadvertised. The reality of the World Wide Web is that you cannot push such advertisements back into the tube. Information that's posted today can be printed and saved, forwarded, retweeted, and even copied and posted on other sites. Limiting the city to the only solution for the advertisement is to require that all postings be removed. The information has long-range effects in luring patrons under contract to participate in unlawful stays in our city. The patrons risk poor health, poor safety, and welfare due to unregulated or self-regulated vacation accommodations that patrons enter into at their own risk. On a single day of advertisement, a person could potentially book a whole year. These promised stays are potentially to the detriment of the patron, and definitely to the detriment of the licensed hotels, motels, and lawful vacation rentals that have gone through proper zoning regulation, proper inspection, proper licensing, proper insurance, and proper taxations, all required by law. The transit nature of the rentals limit the means of the enforcement typically to identifying and by advertisements. By the time code enforcement arrives to the properties, the transient patrons typically are gone from the property, or they claim some misleading relationships that are often contradicted by the advertised visitors' comments. The monetary effect of these unlawful rentals is tax avoidance, inadequate insurance coverage and unfair business competition against lawful accommodation businesses and lawful vacation rentals. The community effect is that transient business use within unauthorized residential neighborhoods affect density, parking, noise, and safety. They affect the peaceful enjoyment expected in residential neighborhoods, and they diverge from traditional and reliable residential norms. We have received a demand from the business community to our city commission, which has led to a request for a strong deterrent to those that are raking in profits, avoiding state or local taxes, avoiding zoning requirements and regulatory controls. We have all seen rentals going for as much as several $1,000s a week and realize substantial fines is the only deterrent tool available. By the time we arrive and say stop, the beneficial gains are already realized. State law adopted by the city defines vacation rentals to include advertising for transient guests. Therefore, the city requests a finding that these violations are irreparable and irreversible in nature. And as we do, one of the effects of them being that determination is that the fine could be a maximum fine of $15,000 and can be fined immediately. And historically, that was our request. That's the magistrate, as you know. We've, over the years, have modified those requests based on the response of the applicant or the respondent. If the respondent responds in a relatively fast time period, the staff has been recommending or at least accepting a lower consideration, and we would make lower recommendations. I think in this case, the recommendation is $1,000. Is that correct? And that would be our recommendation, and we request the finding as stated.
Okay.
I don't have anything further.
Nothing further? Mr. Yates, do you have anything further?
No, sir.
Okay, well, and based on the facts and circumstances and the argument from the city, I hereby find the respondents, Mike Williams and Jennifer Ellis, in case number RTL 062532, as the owners of the property at 124 Loomis Avenue, to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1a, and Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibits short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals. Such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage surrounding neighborhood occurs time the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes. Property has subsequently been brought into compliance on, Mr. Yates?
June 30th.
June 30th?
Sorry, May 30th, excuse me.
May 30th. Thank you. On May 30th, 2024, and hereby order that respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $1,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Okay. Next case, number 2, RTL 062533, Tatiana Naomi Barreto Ramos is cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code Article 4, Section 4.1a, Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 at 274 Rena Drive.
Tatiana Barreto,
If you could be sworn in by the clerk.
you can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Yates?
The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned PDG. Other accommodations and short-term rentals are not permitted in the zoning district. The violation was first observed June 3rd, 2025, and they were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of June 5th, 2025. The daily posted rate was $168, and the advertisement displayed 2 reviews. The check-in, check-out time were shown as 3 p.m. and 11 a.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, requesting a one-time fine of $1,000.
All right.
Ms. Ramos, as I had stated earlier, I make this presentation in every case. You do have an opportunity, if you so elect, to waive it if you've heard everything, and you will have an opportunity to speak to any of the things that I've said previously. So is that something you're willing or desire to waive, or would you like me to repeat the city's position as relates specifically to irreparable and irreversible in nature?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So you waive me going of that again?
Okay. All right. The respondent has waived Mr. Jackson repetition of his previous statements relating to why these types of violations are irreparable and irreversible, and his statements to that effect in the previous case, number 1, RTL 06-2532, are hereby incorporated into this proceeding. And again, if you take exception with anything he said, this is your opportunity. You certainly have opportunity to dispute that.
I have a contract of my first lease that I had with my I did a long-term rental of 10 months with a college here in Daytona. I don't know if that's any good for the case.
Okay, are you saying that no short-term rentals took place? Is that what you're saying, or?
No short-term rentals took place.
Okay.
So this was the only, I had posted it on the Airbnb to try and get some long-term leads for the case because I have it on what is called Furnished Finders, and that's how I was actually able to find these tenants, these 10-month tenants with the contract from the college.
Okay, but you were offering on Airbnb for a term less than 6 months, correct? In other words, it was bookable for a term of less than 6 months on your Airbnb?
Yes.
Okay, so she was offering a short-term rental.
A short-term rental is anything from 1 day to 5 months and 30 days.
6 months in a day.
6 months in a day, okay. So it falls within the scope of being a short-term
But
rental.
immediately, when she was notified, she did absolutely take it down, and we've obviously seen no rentals since that point.
We took it down. I live in Orlando, so as soon as I got the notification, I drove down and I removed it and I got it off of the website.
Okay. Has Mr. Yates seen the lease that you had for this property?
So yeah, and the lease, the lease ends before my short-term rental starts. So that doesn't even cover the time period that I'm claiming there was short-term rental.
Okay, so you came close, but you're not close.
And I'm saying it took place in June. So, yeah.
You said it took place in June based, that's when you were able to identify the advertising?
Yes, sir. That's when I saw the advertisement on June 3rd, 2025 that was offering for the term.
And it also had guest comments?
Yeah, can you bring up the reviews, guys? That should be the second or third slide there. All right. You can see May 2024 stayed with a pet. Average rating rule of fear after 3 reviews. So, and it says I booked her place back in February for a music festival. So obviously that sounds short term.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ramos, we've run into this, or at least I've heard cases previously regarding this where a short-term platform is being used, sometimes argued for a long-term platform, but in your case, it appears the short-term platform is actually being used for a short-term platform. You just had someone who stayed a little longer, but still didn't fall within the scope of being a long-term lease. So it's clear to me that this is a short-term lease, and there have been previous short-term rentals. And so I'm going to treat you in the same fashion as the other property. I have tried to bend over in situations where there is some gray area, but there's no gray area here. So, do you have anything further?
No.
Okay. Therefore, in case number 2, RTL 062533, I hereby find the respondent as the owner of the property at 274 Rena Drive, Daytona Beach, to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1A, and Article 5, Section 5.2.A.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibit short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals. Such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage surrounding the neighborhood occurs at the time the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes, and that the property has subsequently been brought into compliance on June 5th, 2025, and hereby order the respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $1,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Thank you. Case number 3, RTL 062534, Ishan Anil Patil is cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.1.A, Article 5, Section 5.2.A.2 at 2102 Green Valley Street.
Please state your name.
Ishan Patil.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Yates.
The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned PDG. Other accommodations known as short-term rentals are not permitted in this zoning district. The violation was first observed May 30th, 2025, and they were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of May 30th, 2025. The daily posted rate was $82, and the advertisement displayed 4 reviews. The check-in, check-out time were shown as 2 p.m. and 12 p.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, requesting a one-time fine of $1,000.
Mr. Yates, could you just repeat the 3 dates?
Yes, it was May 30th, 2025 for all 3 dates. He was notified, he took it
Okay.
down the same day.
All right. Anything further?
No, sir.
Mr.
Your Honor.
Jackson.
Good morning, Mr. Patil. Yep. And I just come up here so that I'm on record. But as I have said previously, I'll make the request of the magistrate to consider the determination of irreparable or reversible. That's something we introduce into every case. So if that's something you need me to do again, I can do it. If it's something you're willing to waive and waive it being repeated, then we just need to let the magistrate know that. I think you're saying you are.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Okay. Let the record reflect that Mr. Patel has waived reading of Mr. Jackson's statements regarding the city's position that these matters are irreparable and irreversible as stated in previously in case number 1 RTL 062532. And again, Mr. Patel, if you take issue with any of his statements, you certainly have opportunity to present your reasons why he may be incorrect. Do you have anything to say in your behalf?
No, I mean, as Mr. Yates said that I was notified May 30th, came back home and I called him right away saying about me not knowing about the zoning law in the city. So he called me back and he said that it'll be a minimum fine of $1,000, and he said anything lower will be up to the special magistrate. And I looked at the minutes for the last few months, and same case in back in March, RTL 062516, it was brought down to $500. So I was hoping to get something being compliant in this case within a few hours of being notified.
Okay. Mr. Yates, how many rentals were noted on this property?
4.
4. Okay. And Mr. Yates, what's the city's position regarding Mr. Patel's request for a reduction in the amount of the fine?
I mean, we believe that the $1,000 fine is appropriate, but we would have no objection if you would like to lower it.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I can't go to 500 because you've had 4 rentals and you're doing something that is clearly not in the code, but you did respond immediately. So I'm going to essentially split the baby at $750. And I suspect in that previous one, it was one where we also had someone who had not had a history of rentals. And so I just want to try to give you some benefit for your quick action on this matter. So, do you have anything further?
No, thank you again.
So therefore, in case number 3, RTL 062534, I hereby find the respondent, Ishan Anil Patel, as the owner of the property at 2102 Green Valley Street, Daytona Beach, to have been in noncompliance with Article 4, Section 4.1.a and Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibit short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals. Such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage to the surrounding neighborhood occurs at the time the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statute. The property has subsequently been brought into compliance on May 30th, 2025. And hereby order respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $750 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again. And for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right. Case number 4, RTL 062535, Justin Carloni is cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 at 610 Roma Street. Is anyone here on behalf of Mr. Carloni or anyone here on his behalf present? Is there anyone on Zoom? Okay. Mr. Carloni is not present. Has he been notified of this hearing?
Yes, we posted the property.
Okay. Mr. Yates.
All right, the case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned SFR 5. Other accommodations than short-term rentals are not permitted in this zoning district. The violation was first observed May 21st, 2025, and they were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of May 21st, 2025. The daily posted rate was $171, and the advertisement displayed 4 reviews. The check-in time was shown as 3 p.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, the city is requesting a one-time fine of $1,000.
Okay. This is another one where the Mr. Jackson, I believe it would be appropriate for you to, if you feel you need to make a presentation or not.
Ms. Ridger, I do feel I should make the presentation, and I'll do that. Um, as been previously stated, our request is for you to make the finding of irreparable or reversible in nature as provided in Chapter 162 because of the beneficial gains to the property owner whose advertising conduct that is prohibited by the city's code. The effects of their advertising is that property, it's advertised worldwide, marketing a destination that draws people for races, the Daytona 500 races, Bike Week, Biketoberfest, and of course our spring and summer months at our world's most famous beach. Once the properties are advertised, they're never truly unadvertised. The reality is that you can't push it back into the tube. And the information can be posted today can be printed, saved, forwarded, retweeted, and even copied and posted on other sites, which limits the city to the only solution for the advertisements to require that all postings be removed. The information has long-range effects, luring patrons under contract to participate in unlawful stays in our city. The patrons risk poor health, safety, and welfare due to unregulated or self-regulated vacation accommodations that the patrons enter into at their own risk. A single day of advertising can potentially book a property for a whole year, and these promised stays are potentially to the detriment of the patron, and definitely to the detriment of the licensed hotels, motels, and lawful vacation rentals that have gone through proper zoning regulation, proper inspections, proper licensing, proper insurance, and proper taxations that are required by law. The transit nature of the rental limit the means of the enforcement typically to identifying them by advertisements. By the time a code enforcement officer arrives to properties that where there are transient patrons, they're usually gone from the property, or if they are there, they're claiming misleading relationships that are often contradicted by their advertised comments. The monetary effect of these unlawful rentals is tax avoidance, inadequate insurance coverage, and unfair business competition against the lawful accommodation businesses and the lawful vacation rentals. The community effect is that transient business use within unauthorized residential neighborhoods affect the density, parking, noise, and safety. They affect the peaceful enjoyment expected in residential neighborhoods, and they diverge from traditional and reliable residential norms. As we've said before, the business community made a demand to our commission that we have a strong deterrent to those that were avoiding the state and local taxes or avoiding zoning requirements, avoiding the regulatory controls, and getting profits from that. We have all seen rentals go for as much as $1,000 a week, and we realize substantial fines is the only deterrent tool available. By the time we arrive and say stop, the beneficial gains are already realized. State law adopted by the city defines vacation rentals to include advertising for transient guests. Therefore, the city requests that, based upon the testimony of this inspector, that these violations are indeed irreparable or irreversible in nature, and such violations allow the magistrate to impose a fine of up to $15,000. And as I said before, historically, that was something we requested, especially when we started this a number of years ago. And over time, it's been modified with special consideration from the magistrate to where the maximum fine, the minimum fine, we tend to request is $1,000, and anything below that is at the magistrate's discretion. But our recommendation in this case would be for you to make the finding of $1,000 fine based upon the facts presented.
Okay.
And I don't have anything further.
All right. Mr. Yates, how many times had this property been rented?
4 reviews.
Okay. And that could be just the tip of the iceberg. Those are the people who choose to place reviews.
Correct.
All right. See. All right. Well, then I will treat him accordingly. I hereby find the respondent, Justice Justin Carloni, in case number 4, RTL 06-2535, as the owner of the property at 610 Roma Street, to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1.a and Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibit short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals, and that such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage surrounding neighborhood occurs time that the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes. Property is subsequently brought into compliance on May 21st, 2025, and hereby order that respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $1,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. And Mr. Yates, you might mention to respondents that if they act quickly, but they come forward and ask for some type of relief, they may get something. But I have been bringing fines down because when people respond quickly and respond. But this is also sort of in the lines, as I said, many, many years ago when we started doing this, there is sort of a profit benefit that accrues in this. So these become intricately intertwined with the money that is realized as a profit for doing something that's not allowed by city code. So, if someone wants to make an argument, then they need to make that argument either to you or to me or to someone. But if they're not here, I'm going to treat them as we've treated folks in the past. Case number 5, RTL 062536. Wendy D. Scorpio is cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 at 4131 Calusa Pine Road.
Please state your name.
Wendy Scorpio.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Yates.
The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned PDG. Other accommodations known as short-term rentals are not permitted in this zoning district. The violation was first observed May 16th, 2025. They were first notified May 21st, 2025, and the property stopped actively advertising on May 21st, 2025. The daily posted rate was $627. The advertisement displayed one review. The check-in, check-out time were shown as 2 p.m. and 11 a.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, the city is requesting a one-time fine of $1,000.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Scorpio, hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
I think you've heard, I think you've been in the audience. I'll make this presentation to the magistrate in every case. You can waive that if you don't need me to make the presentation
I'd
again.
like to waive
Okay,
it. Thank you.
the request is to waive. And I don't have anything further.
Okay. Ms. Scorpio, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, so as I told Mr. Yates, I really didn't know that there was anything going on. It's got me pretty shook up already. My daughter is in college. I'm just trying to offset my income. Had I known, I wouldn't even have put it up. So, I told him, I said, am I going to have to pay this $1,000? I'm just trying to get enough money to help her out. So, I'm so sorry I wasn't going to do this, but it's a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna ask you if you could give me $0 because I can't afford it. I wouldn't even have done that had I not. If I'd known that I'd get in trouble, I would have never put it up. And I told him that. I was like, I would have never have done that. Because obviously it's costing more problems. So.
Ms. Scorpio, I understand your situation, but I've been hearing it's in the city code. And I've been hearing matters now for 5-6 years.
Yes.
And regardless of whether you were long-term, short-term, or what have you, the city has licensing procedures. And these are things where when someone engages in what essentially amounts to a business, should be looking into what are the requirements. Mr. Yates, would the people, if someone walked into the folks downstairs and said, I want to do this to earn money,
Yeah.
would they have said, you either can't do it or you need a license to do it, or?
Correct. They would have said you
Steer-
can't in this case, but yes, they would have, unless, of course, you sought rezoning, would be their only other advice to you.
Okay. Ms. Scorpio, the best that I could do for you is, if you were to ask for it, would be to reduce the fine, as the previous gentleman had asked for, to $750. Because you did respond, you were notified, and you immediately responded. And that is the best I can do. I can't start waiving fines. There is an economic gain, and I know that you have other places you're spending the money, but that these proceedings don't lend themselves to that type of discussion as to whether the money is going towards something that might be considered of value or is just going into someone's pocket. I
just didn't. I mean, I even asked him, we don't get warnings, something that tells you, like, hey, you're making a mistake. What are you doing? Take that down. And he's like, no. And I was like, had I known, I never would have done that. It was just ignorance. I just didn't know. And had I been told, and he did say, why didn't you go to the zoning place? And I said, I didn't even know to go to the zoning place. I didn't know I was doing, I mean, I guess to me, I thought because it was my property, it didn't matter. I just didn't know.
Ma'am, I believe that any kind of rental in the city would require some type of action by the city, whether there's a license. If it was long-term, you would have to get a license or a business tax license. And
Yeah. What do we call that now? For a rental? A registration.
Okay.
so if you would like me to drop it to $750, I'm amenable to that, but that's about all I can do under the circumstances. Again, Mr. Jackson, maybe you can explain also a fine, as you have in the past to other respondents, and the payment arrangements and things of that nature, and how it relates to the property.
Sure. With anything that's from Chapter 162, which is the Florida Code for, the Florida Statute for Code Enforcement Matters, a fine, once it's imposed, and it should be paid. But if it's not paid, what happens is the city records it in a public record, and once it's recorded, it becomes a lien. After 3 months, the city could try and foreclose on the lien. The likelihood of foreclosing on $1,000 isn't very high, but the city could. Otherwise, it remains on the property as a lien. It affects not only the property where the fine is imposed, but also any other property owned by the violator. So if something that someone can't pay immediately, it's just sitting out there as a lien on the property, an encumbrance like any other judgment or any other lien. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Therefore, after hearing the arguments of the city and the respondent, I hereby find the respondent, Wendy D. Scorpio, in case number RTL 062536, as the owner of the property at 4131 Calusa Pine Road to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1.a and Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibits short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals, and such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage to the surrounding neighborhood occurs time that the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes. Property has subsequently been brought into compliance on May 21st, 2025, and hereby order the respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $750 due to the quick response of the respondent to the violation, and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, respondent may be placed on subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Thank you. And I can say that in the past, we have had people who did not respond, and appreciate the speed with which you resolve the matter. Okay. Case number 6, RTL 062537. Respondent is Paul A. Merck, cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 at 346 Plaza Boulevard.
Hello? I'm here.
Hello, please state your name.
My name is Paul Merck.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Yates?
The city would like to request to amend to the next hearing. I've spoken with the owner who just received, while the property was posted in a timely manner, he's saying he just received the certified mail on Monday and that his tenant may have received the mail and he's the one who's actually doing the short-term rental. So we'd like to amend to allow them time to gather their evidence and to get the ad down and then to come back with a fuller picture of what's going on.
I called him immediately, Your Honor. May I address Your Honor?
Sure.
I called him immediately as soon as I found out this morning. It'll be down by the end of the day. Everything will be circumvented and taken care of by the end of the day.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have no problem with what Mr. Yates is asking for.
No problem.
I certainly
Thank you.
want to give you an opportunity. It sounds like this is a complicated matter. It's unlike some of the other ones where the property owner is basically the one, if I am stating this correctly. And so I want to give you an opportunity to speak with Mr. Yates and work out whatever you can so that when we have a hearing, the issues are simpler for me, and it makes it easier for everybody.
I'm going to make it very simple. He will not be doing any more Airbnb out of the property.
Okay.
Yes. It'll be pulled down.
I will amend this to the next hearing, and if you could then, you can appear again in Zoom. Hopefully it's not too much of an inconvenience for you, and then we can get all of this resolved.
I'm just in the state of New Jersey right now. Is it okay if we do the whole thing again in Zoom the next time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm granting the
Thank you,
continuance.
sir. That would be
June.
wonderful. But may I ask you a question, Your Honor? Do you not just want to just get it over with now, or do you want to see that it's been taken down?
If the city moves forward now, we'd have to ask for a $15,000 fine.
Okay. I take it the posting is still up there.
Correct.
It has to be down. You have to
No
be
problem.
essentially
Yes,
in
Your Honor.
compliance before I can hear the matter. Or
got
if
it,
you're
Your
not
Honor.
in
Thank you very much.
compliance, then essentially the way these types of proceedings go, if you come in compliance, you get the benefit of being in compliance. If you're not in compliance, you sort of get the book thrown at you.
You got it, Your Honor. Thank you very much for being honest with me. I will make sure I take care of it by the end of the day.
Okay. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So this matter will be continued. Case number 6. Case number 6, RTL 062537, respondent being Paul A. Merck, for regarding property at 346 Plaza Boulevard is hereby continued to the, what's the date?
July 22nd.
July 22nd to the July 22nd, 2025 hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right. Do I zoom off now?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I will talk to you guys on the 22nd. Appreciate the extension. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That completes our cases except for now the lien review. Is our respondent present?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and we're doing lien review. This is RTL 01-2503 145 Boysenberry Lane, Tibor and Ladiko Benke, who had been cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code Article 4, Section 4.1A, Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2. These would be short-term rental violations. And there was an order, issued on the amount effective would have been in December of 2024
I believe so.
or thereabouts.
I was first notified.
It was effective January 31st.
Okay.
2025.
All right. So the order that had been issued in December of 2024 became effective in January of 2025.
Yes.
And there is currently let's see, the fine was the amount of $1,000, and there's still $960 due.
Yes. We're hearing this. Oh, I'm sorry. She has to be sworn in. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we can. Okay.
The Miss Benke
Yes.
is the petitioner in this type of proceeding. If you would like Mr. Yates to kind of give me an overview,
Please.
I can speak, ma'am. You're fine.
and then
I hate myself for standing here and asking.
No, ma'am. I'll
I need to swear
Oh,
her
would you-
in, if we can.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna be okay. Please, thank you.
Just state your name, ma'am.
My name is Ildiko Benke.
All right. If you can raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
We're here
Hey,
to.
Mr. Yates, will you be presenting? I've gone
Yeah,
through
I'm sorry.
the
Yes, sir.
materials,
Yes,
and
I will.
I have an
Oh,
understanding.
okay. The city would like to request a full release of the lien based on the evidence presented.
Okay. I reviewed the materials, and I believe that would certainly be warranted.
Okay, great.
So let me do Ms. Benke, I'm releasing the lien based on the circumstances of this matter.
Thank you very much. I
Okay.
just want to say thank you very much. I hate myself for asking you to do this because I am not a beggar. And in the future, if I can afford to pay this lien, I will still want to pay it because I hate to ask you to erase it.
That's
I-
okay.
I
I'm
have no other-
releasing I'm releasing it. It's going away. So there's nothing for you to pay, nothing further. So therefore, let me get my. Therefore, I hereby order that the lien in case number RTL 01-2503 be reduced to 0. Is that correct, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Yates?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Be reduced to 0, and that's it. There is no payment due. Case closed. Mr. Jackson?
I'm just wondering if you should say the remaining or something to that effect, since, I mean, we do have this portion of payment that's already been received. So. just
Okay,
a
what
little
does
bit
the
of
city
confusion.
want to do with that?
Just-
I mean, usually a lien reduction deals
It's
with,
satisfied is what we want to record it as.
and that the,
Yeah,
do you
no
need
further
me to
payments
state
in
that the lien has been satisfied?
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll-
please.
Okay, and that the lien has been satisfied and that the city can record whatever it needs to
We'll record
indicate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, you're
No,
fine.
no, you don't have to be sorry for anything. We're sorry for your loss. Right. Okay. Is there any further business?
No further announcements.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, anything further?
I have nothing further, just happy to see you. I don't get to come see you guys that much anymore, so,
Okay.
happy to see you.
Okay. Therefore, it being 10:03, I hereby call this session of the special magistrate proceeding to an end.